Hello and welcome back again to OK Karma, where as always, I share with you the best stories that I can find online, and it's always read to you by an actual human. Today, we're going to be jumping back into the AITA subreddit, everyone's favorite, and starting with a story titled AITA for not wanting to babysit during Mother's Day weekend by Panda According 1160. And it says, my husband, a 33-year-old male, and I, a 28-year-old female, have an 8-year-old son together. Through him, we became friends with another family who has 2 daughters, ages 8 and 5. We've all been friends for about 3 years now, and during that time, we've regularly babysat each other's kids whenever someone wanted a date night or just needed a break. It's been a normal thing for all of us. A few days ago, the husband texted my husband asking if we could watch their girls Saturday evening because he wanted to surprise his wife with concert tickets for Mother's Day weekend. He said that the concert would run late and that they might not get back until around 2 or 3 in the morning. My husband initially told him probably and said that he would check with me first. He then called me and casually asked what we were doing on Saturday. I said nothing. And apparently he took that as a green light to immediately tell our friend yes. And then he called me back and explained the full situation. After hearing everything, I said, watching additional children during Mother's Day weekend is not exactly how I pictured spending my time. My husband immediately got annoyed and said, it's not like you had anything planned. Besides, you were going to be around kids anyway. He said this because we were already taking our son to a birthday party earlier that day. He then doubled down and said that Mother's Day is technically Sunday anyway, so it shouldn't matter that much, and it's just a day. That really hurt me because I do basically everything in our house, cooking, cleaning, most of the parenting to our son and our dog, while also working full time. Mother's Day is literally the one day where I hope for even a little appreciation. I don't even usually get anything for Christmas or my birthday, and I've never made a huge deal about that, but this really pushed me over the edge. What makes it worse is that whenever, quote, we babysit, it mostly just falls on me. I'm the one entertaining the kids, making food, solving arguments, organizing games, etc. Meanwhile, my husband usually disappears into the media room, shuts the door, and plays video games because he, quote, doesn't know how to help. Also, my son has ADHD and their older daughter also has ADHD. And the last time we watched them, they were bouncing off the walls until after 1 a.m. I had a headache the entire next day. My son finally went to bed around 1 while their daughter was literally doing somersaults on our couch. So I told my husband that I didn't want to babysit, especially not that late into the night. He responded by saying that he'd already told our friend yes and that the concert tickets had already been purchased. At that point, I told him fine, but when the girls get dropped off, I'll be leaving. I said I would go see a movie and find other things to do because if he agreed to babysit without actually discussing it with me first, then he could handle all the kids himself. He called me childish, unreasonable, and said I was, quote, throwing a tantrum and told me I needed to help him watch the kids. I stood my ground. I bought myself a ticket to the new Mortal Kombat movie, and now we're barely speaking, primarily on his part. So AITA for not wanting to babysit kids the night before Mother's Day? The last word 63 in the comments says NTA. He was going to be around a kid anyways, so it shouldn't be a big deal for him either. Just repeat the same thing that he said to you. Ariadne Red Thread says, book a room for a week. He's not going to fully appreciate it until the dishes pile up and he's deeply exhausted. I really believe that women should be leaving their husbands more often to take care of everything by themselves, like at least a few weeks a year to remind him how much he would suffer without her. And All Year Swift says NTA, but your problem goes well beyond being saddled with extra kids while he retreats to his own cave. He needs to step up. You're doing 3 jobs, household, parenting, outside work, and he does 1. And yeah, the OP is definitely not the asshole in this situation. I mean, I'm not even sure what was going through this dude's mind when he agreed to babysit someone else's kids the night before. Also, what was going through their mind asking someone else to watch their kids right before Mother's Day? Maybe they're the assholes. Our next story is titled AITA for not giving my ex's wife equal say and decision-making ability for my kids by Brilliant Carib 840. And it says, my ex-husband cheated and left me for his new wife. They've been officially together for 2.5 years and married for less than a year. He waited for the divorce to finalize before going public with her because he didn't want our kids ages 9 and 7 to figure out that he had been cheating. That's a very obvious source of conflict, but it's actually a source of double conflict. Of course, I can't stand either of them, him for cheating and her for knowing that he was married with a family. She can't stand me because she believes that I should have helped them lie to the kids so they could be openly together sooner. The reason she thinks that is because the ex and I had a rocky marriage before I found out that he was cheating. He said it's why he went there with her, but I don't believe him for a second. We had been going to a marriage counselor to work on our issues, and in reality, he was cheating and wanted to leave me while saying in counseling that he wanted to stay. He and I share physical and legal custody of the kids. All decisions for and about the kids must be made together. He can include his wife in his part of the decision, but there's no ruling that I must include her equally, so I don't. And this bothers her so much. Both kids do summer swimming lessons so they can keep up their strong swimming skills, which the ex and I have always felt is important because we have a lot of water around where we live. She wanted to change where they go for swim lessons this summer, and she brought it up to me, and I just told her no. She wanted me to hear her out, but I said no. She got the ex to bring it up, and I told him my answer was still no. He said that I should have let her speak about it, and I told him that if they agree on something, he can bring it to me. Otherwise, no, I don't need to listen to her. Another problem she has is their extracurriculars. She feels that they should be doing a few different things to what they're currently doing. This was again something that she wanted the two of us to talk about, and I said no. She told me she would have an equal say in this kind of thing, and again, I told her no. I told her if she wants her say to speak to my ex, and we can discuss it, but she doesn't get a say with me. She also wanted to switch their pediatrician because her friend's kids have a different one, and she felt like it should be talked about and discussed because she gets to make decisions like this too. My answer was no, and even my ex's was, but he was mad and I wouldn't let her have that say. The way I see it is I have to co-parent with him even if he is a cheater, but I did not make babies with her, so I do not need to give her more consideration than she gave us when she became the other woman. It's all up to him if he wants to include her in his decisions and topics that he wants to bring up with me. But I have made it clear it will not all be equal with me and that I made kids with the ex and not with her. Am I the asshole? Shammy Dammy in the comments says, it's time for a parenting app that logs all communication. And Rachel responded and said, as a divorce attorney, 100% this. If there's any conflict in your co-parenting relationship, you should be using the app. The Friendly Mom says NTA, and you're 100% right. If he keeps pushing this agenda, it would be worth you chatting to a local lawyer just to confirm it. Their marriage doesn't give her rights over your kids. P.S. From another perspective, it seems like he's pushing parental decision-making onto her so that he doesn't have to be making parenting decisions or deal with you directly as the other parent, both in his scope of parental responsibility. In Professional Peak says NTA, you owe her nothing. You only have to co-parent with your ex. Also, sorry you have to deal with him too. At least once they're 18, you can be low to no contact. And the OP responded and said, thank you. I'm counting down the days until I never have to have these discussions with him again. And I mean, come on. Of course, NTA on this one, like, in what world does the husband think that the OP and his new lady are gonna see eye to eye on anything, given the circumstances? And especially when it comes to two children that are very much not hers. Like, if she's good to them and they like her, that's amazing. But unless a judge with a concussion gives her some kind of official decision-making power, she's just got to talk to the husband behind the scenes and have him bring the decisions up to the OP. But why? Why ruffle feathers? Just you've done enough. And our last story today is titled, Am I the Asshole for Hiring Professional Cleaners to Prove That My Mom is a Spite Cleaner? And it says this is from a few years ago, but it comes up in arguments a lot, so I figured I would get some outside opinions. My mom is what you might call a spite cleaner. She uses cleaning as a tool to control and nag and whine and whatnot. My siblings and I bore the brunt of it. Often she delegated cleanings to a Saturday or Sunday, which we called, quote, hell day. She would usually go out to buy food for the week and errands and leave us to it. And it seemed that no matter how much cleaning we did, she was never happy with the result. And the day would end with all of us arguing and upset. Sometimes we would barely do any cleaning since the end result was the same, her complaining. Venting to each other outside of the house one day, my siblings and I decided to prove that she was just complaining for the sake of complaining. We ended up setting a GoFundMe up to raise funds to pay a local house cleaning company, posing it as something along the lines of help us get a professional house cleaning to surprise our mom. And we were able to raise a few $100s, mostly from family and friends who knew our situation, which covered the cost, and a nice big tip for the cleaners from what was left. So for one cleaning weekend, when our mom had shopping plus getting the car looked at, we scheduled a local cleaner to arrive. They were two very nice women who had proceeded to clean the house till it was sparkling. We chatted a bit with them while they were working, and one of the ladies had almost 20 years of experience cleaning homes. The other one had 8. With their consent, we filmed some clips of them cleaning, saying that it was a surprise to our mom. So, mom gets home with our uncle who was coming to dinner and she's barely in the door. She's already started complaining about our usual subpar cleaning, that either I or my brother didn't clean the surfaces well enough or that my sister didn't sweep one spot. These were repetitive complaints that she often said. Long story short, we show her the footage. Her face gets red and she proceeds to scream at us from embarrassing her in front of her brother. How dare we hire cleaners and have strangers in the house, blah, blah, blah. We argued back that this proves she's just weaponizing cleaning. It's been a few years since then. After the big blow up, she just did most of the cleaning herself and never admitted to weaponizing it. It came up again recently as us, quote, tricking her, and I don't think we did anything wrong. Am I the asshole? Plastic Scoop in the comments says, you didn't trick her, you exposed her. Sometimes it's never good enough. Did anything else come of it? Did she tell her friends or other family members how terrible her kids were for doing it? Not the asshole. Asterix says, so here's the thing about mentally compromised and emotionally immature parents or bosses or mates or anyone really. You'll never get a satisfied win. They cannot. It will cause them a perceived collapse of self and their brains cannot allow them to experience that. So get yourselves to therapy and get a different place to live. The generational abuse has gone in long enough, and I'm sure this is the tip of an iceberg. And Babsorella also says, NTA. Toxic people can erupt when you successfully call them on their BS. Man, yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like the mom is working through some of her own stuff by doing this. I mean, I understand a parent having high standards of their children, but they literally just prove that nothing is good enough, which 100% hints at some of that generational trauma that one of the comments mentioned. The OP and their siblings aren't assholes here, but this family definitely needs some professional help and not the show up and clean your house kind. But as always, I don't know anything. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed my readings of these stories, please make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.